So there's a lot of confusion to what is going on with Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and it's really funny to what's going on because there's a ton of media outlets saying, "Oh, it's a standalone game. It's its own game. It's a standalone game. It's not DLC. It's not DLC." They're upset because the game is DLC. It's an expansion pack, is what it is. There's a lot of evidence that's pointing to this being an expansion pack. But there's a lot of people upset that it's not, well, it wasn't being called a standalone game. And considering that what's going on right now, saying this game is some kind of DLC when you had it set up like it was going to be a full game could really get a lot of people going. In a sense, it is a standalone game, and I'm going to get to that. But the game is probably 10 hours, and it's probably still going to be DLC at the end of the day. There's no statement saying that this game is not going to be on PS4. It probably is going to be on PS4, but it's going to be on PS4 as DLC for Spider-Man, the full game, or similar to Uncharted The Lost Legacy, you would be able to buy this game as a standalone disc. It is a standalone game, but Lost Legacy, you want to know how much Lost Legacy was in terms of gameplay length? It was 10 hours. So yes, this is a standalone game, but it's still going to be just DLC. Now, here's what Insomniac said over here on Twitter. So Insomniac Games, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales is the next adventure in the Marvel Spider-Man universe. We will reveal more about this standalone game at a future date. Then Michael Williams asks, so is this an expansion pack for Spider-Man or is it an exclusive to the PlayStation 5? Insomniac Games responds, it is a standalone game. A lot of confusion to what this is because here's what happened. So I made a video on this earlier laughing because I've never seen so many people jump and be kind of butthurt about what's going on, all because this is DLC at the end of the day. If this was Ben Reilly or Superior Spider-Man, who was Doc Ock, long story, no one would be batting an eye. But because it's Miles Morales, and you got to take into context everything going on right now in the world, saying that this is just some kind of DLC expansion, for some reason would cause butthurt. He should be getting his own full game. He's a second fiddle or something. Because here's what was happening. There were articles saying, step aside, Peter Parker, and all this stuff. And you would go to Twitter and people were saying, oh, well, the frustrated white dudes about the game. When that wasn't even happening. Nobody was upset. In fact, most people were excited. Some people were like, I'm kind of disappointed because there's loose hanging threads for Spider-Man, the first game on PS4, which is true. There are loose hanging threads for that game. And they're going to get solved because there's still a Spider-Man 2 coming. Now, this game is a standalone game, but it's still going to be more than likely DLC for the first game. I had to clarify this because there's a lot of people that are butthurt about this being standalone for some reason. I say, who cares? To be honest, why is it a big deal? Who cares? You're still getting a 10-hour Miles Morales game. And it's probably going to be fun and a good time. What's the problem here? Why are we arguing semantics? But apparently because the DLC, and I guarantee you this is DLC, by the way, the reason that they're doing kind of damage control on this is because, look, the games that come out for PlayStation 5 are going to come to PlayStation 4. The Marvel's Spider-Man game for PS4 was ported to the PS5. It was ported to the PS5, so they already had everything ready to go. From what it looks like, that game is coming to PlayStation 5 as a remaster, and I think that they're going to include this game with it. Now, they're probably going to give you the option to just buy this version of the game, therefore making it a standalone game, but that still makes it DLC at the end of the day. And that's what it is. And they're trying to do some kind of damage control, I think, for it. I think that's what's going on. This is where the confusion comes from. So this dropped at 9:37 a.m. June 12th. Spider-Man Miles Morales is an expansion and enhancement to the original, Sony clarifies. This came from an interview with The Telegraph. Okay? That's where this comes from. So let me read this part. Announced during Sony's PS5 reveal event on Thursday, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales was described as a new adventure from Insomniac Games with little further detail offered. However, in a new interview, The Telegraph describes Morales as more akin to an expansion bolted onto an upgraded version of the original title. Sony Interactive Entertainment's EVP head of European business, Simon Rutter, told the publication that Miles Morales would include major enhancements to the 2018 PS4 game. I guess you could call it an expansion and an enhancement to the previous game, he said. There's a substantial Miles Morales component, which is the expansion element, but also within the game as well. There's been major enhancements to the game and the game engine, obviously deploying some of the major PlayStation 5 technology and features. Then it was updated. Insomniac Game has released a statement which says that Miles Morales is a standalone game, and yet it has not provided further clarification. And they're not going to, but they're in the hot seat to do it now. So much confusion over this. Okay? Why don't they want to do that? Because if you ask me, in my opinion, I think, and it does kind of sound like, they're going to release an upgraded version of Spider-Man for the PS5. That's kind of the take that I got from it, and this will be included in that game. That's going to be the Miles Morales component. But you will more than likely, according to the other outlets coming out and talking about this and a little bit of clarification, Jason Schreier came out and talked about it, said that it's going to be a standalone game. Insomniac confirms Spider-Man Miles Morales is a standalone PS5 game, reportedly a spin-off similar in scope to Uncharted The Lost Legacy. Uncharted The Lost Legacy was a 10-hour DLC standalone game. It's still a standalone game, but if you had Uncharted 4, you could just download it. Or, if you didn't want to, for I think $25 or $30 or however much it was, you could just buy that version. And that was a standalone game. So, is this confusing? Yes, this is kind of confusing, right? I mean, what's the problem here? I do think that it's because of everything going on right now. They don't want to say, oh, we're just giving him a standalone game. And also the fact that they kind of pumped it up like it was going to be a huge release. It was going to be a huge release. Like, oops, he's getting his own full game, Miles Morales, which he still is getting his own full game. But seems like calling it DLC is taboo or something. I don't really understand why people are upset. And there's a lot of outlets pushing this. Oh, it's standalone. It's a standalone game. It sure is. It's standalone. And yeah, technically it's standalone, but it's still DLC. Now, I wonder if this will cause a delay in the game and maybe they'll make it into a full game. I could honestly see that happening right now, because if this turns into big backlash, whether it will turn into big backlash or not, I don't know. But it seems like it's this idea of it being a standalone game is really irritating people. And it is kind of confusing, but it's confusing for a reason, because this game is for sure coming to PlayStation 4, and it's going to be just like The Lost Legacy. That's what's going on here. The Lost Legacy was 10-hour DLC, and it did have a standalone release. It did, but at the end of the day, It was downloadable content for Uncharted 4. Just like I firmly believe this is going to be downloadable content for Spider-Man on the PS4. I don't know what this is going to look like for the PlayStation 5. I kind of think you're going to see Spider-Man remastered for the PlayStation 5, fully upgraded with the PlayStation 5 engine and like power, not engine, but power and everything. Like it's going to look and play really good. And then you're also going to see Miles Morales DLC for that game, or you can download just that DLC. I think you're going to have two options there. I don't see them releasing a 10-hour game, especially if everything that I've seen as, coming out, like it sounds like that game has already been ported to the PS4. Either way, this is very confusing, and it's funny just how butthurt people are about this game being DLC. I don't understand why. Why is it such a big deal? Is it because of, like, are they going to say that it, like, I wonder if there's that's why I said, I speculated that, is it because of everything going on right now and you're just regulating him to DLC? I could see that being a reason that people are upset about it. Like, ooh, he's over, okay, everything going on right now, you had him stepping up and pushing Peter Parker to the side. Even though that was never the case, I'm totally okay with them giving both of them a game. I think that's great. The more, the better, because these are fun games. But it's just really strange. And I don't think Sony's going to clarify on it because they want you to get excited for this for a PS5. So it's just really strange what's going on right now. And I don't know. I did release a video on this earlier, but it didn't seem like it was clear enough. I hope this is better because I still don't get what's going on here. I think I'm right, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think you're going to see this released for PS4 and PS5, and you're going to be able to get the Miles stuff separately. But Uncharted Lost Legacy was also sold separately. This is probably going to be a 10 to 15 hour game. Really don't see the problem here. Okay? As long as the game's good and fun, and it's not $60 for a 10-hour game, who cares? It's really not a big deal. And if anything, if these people are worried about the political aspect, it's getting people more familiar with the character, which in turn will probably make him more popular. What's the problem? Anyway, I hope this clears things up. I hope everyone is happy here and gets what's going on. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they will clarify things soon. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please share the video. Throw a like up. Let me know what you think this is in the comments below. And that is it. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you're still subscribed. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.